Alright, hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Slcmof. I'm here with my two buddies once again, and we're going to be talking about... Basically, we did the Nameless Podcast episode 1 last week. You guys seemed to... Let me turn my volume down. You guys seemed to enjoy it. Got a lot of good comments, and somebody told us to turn the camera off, so we did. So now we have no camera. Hopefully you guys enjoy not seeing our faces. So today we're going to be talking about a variety of things. Of course, as always, as the topics that we are discussing are lit up, then we will be on the screen. Who is typing during my intro?
Sorry.
Excuse me. It's not okay. It's not okay. Okay, so today starting out, we're going to be talking about, so the Spider-Man game, Barry makes the topic, so I don't know what this is, so please explain. Let's just jump right into it here. What's going on here? All right, is this the Sucker Punch game that this topic's about, or what?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Very good. What's going on? Explain.
Right, basically, Sony may have a lot of plans for Spider-Man, because this week there was a lot unveiled regarding to a Miles Morales animated movie, which I am excited for.
Wait, Marvel makes animated movies?
From now on, they do, apparently.
From time to time, honestly, I've not seen many. I've seen less than 5 in my entire life, and they're not particularly good, in my personal opinion, like, comparatively to DC, that is. But DC makes amazing animated movies. The Marvel ones aren't bad, they're just not mythic, like the DC ones are. But also, a lot of the DC ones are basically rehashes of other stories. I still want a Long Halloween animated movie, by the way. But, yes, okay, continue on, sorry.
Right, and obviously that game, that Spider-Man game, which could be revealed at E3, which got leaked a few, was it a month ago now, I think it was?
Yeah, roughly a month ago.
Yeah. So, I think Sony have a lot planned for Spider-Man, particularly.
Okay. With this Spider-Man game, it's interesting to me. I don't know if we're going to see it at E3. I think that's unlikely, in terms of seeing it at this E3. What is more likely to me is WB Montreal, Telltale Batman reveal, if we're talking about, video games relating to superhero comic book stuff.
Maybe a Marvel Telltale reveal? Like, who it's going to be about?
No, too early. Because if you think about it, the reveal for Telltale Batman, it came basically 6 months before the release date. So based off of when
what's the next Telltale game after Batman Telltale?
It's The Walking Dead Season 3. The Walking Dead Season 3. And then Telltale 2017 for Marvel, I bet you that's going to be like late 2017. And I bet there's something in between there, whether it be The Wolf Among Us Season 2, which I think is unlikely,
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, they're finishing Minecraft this year, maybe a new thing, because I remember a long time ago.
Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh, yes, Tales from the Borderlands. And the Game of Thrones Season 2, don't forget that. Game of Thrones Season 2, which I've not played, but I've heard it's quite good. And I've also heard, I've played Tales from the Borderlands, that's amazing, I can't wait for Season 2 of that. Game of Thrones I've yet to get around to, but... that's going to be really interesting with what they do with the Marvel game. I'm betting on Spider-Man personally, because if we look at historically what Telltale has done, like, they've really found a way to, get involved with really popular IPs, and that's what they're doing with Batman. That's what they did with The Walking Dead. The way that I found out about Telltale, because of the fact their games are so inexpensive and so affordable, is that they don't have a massive advertising budget. The way in which you counteract that is by making really popular franchises. So the thing is with Batman, Salvage just DM'd us. I don't know if you saw this. He says, "Are you guys doing the podcast thing today?" Salvage just asked that. Maybe we can add him later once we get a break. Anyway, as I was saying, so I think that there's definitely a possibility that they're making a Spider-Man game, and I would have never found out about Telltale if it weren't for The Walking Dead. So, I think that a Telltale Spider-Man game would be pretty cool, but a lot of people have been saying, like, Jessica Jones and,
I think Jessica Jones. I think Alias, for sure. Because Spider-Man's going to be very action-oriented, and Telltale, they're definitely not the most action-oriented.
Right.
They have action set pieces sometimes, but they're mostly about character development, and Jessica Jones, in the show at least, and in the books, barely gets into any conflict. That's not... mind games or something like that.
That could very much so be like a Jessica Jones series. I could see shaping out to be quite a bit like The Wolf Among Us in feel and aesthetic and darkness and that kind of thing. But then again, I said the same thing for Batman. I feel like that's going to feel a lot like it as well, like from a detective standpoint. But we'll still have to wait and see how that turns out. So back to Sucker Punch Spider-Man. I'm really looking forward to this game if it's a thing. Of course, it looks pretty likely as though that's what's happening here. Go ahead.
It's possible. It's possible. I feel like it's possible, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
because especially with the recent trends with the Spider-Man games obviously coming out at the same time as the movies. Every Spider-Man movie's done it. Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2, all had their respective games, which came out around the same time as the movie's release. So with Marvel, and obviously Sony still obtaining some ownership over the character of Spider-Man, they could potentially make their own game exclusive for PlayStation. It wouldn't be anything new. It would just be the ordinary, to be honest. All that voice correct, sorry.
I don't think they're going to do an exclusive game. I think Sucker Punch, more than likely, is just going to continue the Infamous series, which they've always done.
That series is so dead. Come on, like that series
Infamous
is...
Second Son's the best-selling Infamous game in the series.
God, do we really want another one of those damn things? I think, so, but think about how popular Spider-Man. He's popular already just from a name brand standpoint. Every 3-year-old has Spider-Man PJs. But once you introduce Spider-Man into Civil War, and once you get him on that Spider-Man Homecoming movie, which I do still believe is going to get a PG rating, they're going to go for PG. And I think that this game is going to be rated teen as well. I think that's what they're, that would complement it so well. I mean, think about what is a game that was made to complement the release of the movies? Batman Arkham Asylum. That's absolutely what the Arkham games were for.
Came out near The Dark Knight.
It came out a year after The Dark Knight, so that's
what same year, 2009, and
the Dark Knight was 2008.
After. Dark Knight 2008.
So that's what it would make the most sense. And as per Sucker Punch game, I'm not particularly familiar with their modern style because I've not played the Infamous
I'm very familiar.
days, but I have played Sly Cooper. That's Infamous, right? Or not? Or Sucker Punch.
Yeah, that's Sucker Punch. The
Sucker
first
Punch,
3 are Sucker Punch, and the 4th one's Sinzaru.
Okay. Okay. So, I played the Sly Cooper game. I mean, what do you think, HMA? Do you think that would turn out well? You seem to think that it's not even happening, even though it's been leaked. It's been leaked like everywhere.
Well, the only leaks we've gotten that I've seen is that there's an Untitled Spider-Man PS4 game and a new Sucker Punch game where they said that the costume design was awesome and spectacular or something like that. So that's all the proof we've gotten, I think, and I don't think that's enough to warrant just the whole thing that people think Sucker Punch is going to develop a Spider-Man game, because I think for a Spider-Man game they'd want to go all platforms like they've always done. They've always been released on Xbox.
This
PC.
is the thing. I think I've told both of you this before about Sony losing revenue from Marvel because of Civil War and Spider-Man. Because with Sony movies, the ones in the past, obviously they've gained 100% revenue from their movies because they weren't sharing sharing Spider-Man with anyone. However, this time round, there's like a 50-50 division, a 50-50 share between Marvel and Sony, which obviously means that Marvel gets some of the profit that Sony don't. So this is what I'm thinking, okay? I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form this is true, but perhaps the Spider-Man game will be true, and it will be coming out for PlayStation 4 only, because they want to make up the revenue that they potentially lost from the MCU Spider-Man in Civil War.
Yeah,
that's a good point. But one thing to think about is that we truthfully don't know how the revenue split works. Like, all of that is behind closed doors. There's no public knowledge of how all that works. And it appears as though they're reaching some sort of deal. Just in the fact that Spider-Man is in Civil War is remarkable in and of itself and unimaginable a decade ago.
He signed the 3 movies, and those 3 movies I feel are just going to be Civil War, his own movie, and Infinity War. So he's not signed on fully, right? Like, he's only got 3 movies right now.
But we can only assume... Yeah, we can only assume that he'll be in Infinity War 2. He
might be.
And if not, then they'll kill him, and that'll be dramatic, and everybody will go to the theater to watch Spidey die in Infinity War, and then that'll make $2 billion. It won't be that bad. They won't, it's not going to be that terrible.
The budget for both Infinity War movies are over $1 billion, if you guys haven't heard about that. Like, the budget is insane on those movies.
What?
Yeah. Combined?
Yeah, combined, both movies have a budget of over $1 billion.
Is that plus? Does that include marketing budgets?
Maybe.
If so, then BVS was 800 million. So, I mean, yeah.
BVS was 400 million, I thought.
No, their
production and marketing.
Their break even was 800. So, like in terms of marketing and everything, so that's pretty standard for massive movie like that, you know.
They did make less profit than Man of Steel, from what I've heard, right?
Yeah. No, I think they made more. I think they made more at this point, but they did not make as much as they were expecting at any means.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else to say there? If not, we'll move on to Injustice 2.
We've got to talk about the Miles Morales movie.
Oh, shit. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's not... alright. HMA, you start off with this first, because... I
don't have anything much to say.
The Miles Morales movie, if you didn't know, this movie, the only thing confirmed about this movie is that Chris Miller and Phil Lord, the guys behind 21 Jump Street, the Lego movie, and the new Han Solo movie, are producing it and writing it and all that. So that's basically all we have confirmed at this point, but the major leak that came out a while ago is that they said that this is a new version of Spider-Man, something that we haven't seen in films before. So many people are jumping to Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man, who, if you didn't know, is very liked right now. Like, he's very popular because he's on the cartoon and things like that. So I think that that's a big possibility because they might want to differentiate themselves from the MCU Spider-Man. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think it would be good because this whole recent trend with the race and stuff, races, so like Michael B. Jordan, Human Torch, Idris Elba, potentially James Bond. I think this would just follow that trend sort of. Also, Miles Morales in the comics is pretty much as mainstream as Peter Parker is right now. He's in the 616 universe for a short period of time. He plays a part in Secret Wars. He's in a lot of really big story arcs that made him mainstream and the character he is today. He's evolved a lot. He's a very likable character. He's very relatable as well. And yeah, that's why I think people are speculating it's going to be Miles Morales because he is second in command in terms of Spider-Man, at least personally.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like most superheroes, there's only one superhero, like Batman. You don't think of anyone else but Bruce Wayne as Batman. But for some people, when you say Spider-Man, they do sometimes think of Miles Morales and Peter Parker and Miles Morales. It's always a split thing.
Yes. Also, I think the story of it will be quite good as well. I'm just thinking about a story. Miles Morales' transformation into Spider-Man, or like him finally coming to acknowledge his responsibilities and stuff, is really, really impactful and like quite inspirational, to be honest. Technically, it has the same morals as Peter Parker, but in my opinion, I think it's even more impactful, to be honest, because he witnesses is pretty much the same as Uncle Ben, to be honest, except he's witnessing the person who had that responsibility, and he just died by doing what he done best. So that led Miles Morales to become Spider-Man for that main reason, and it's very reminiscent to Uncle Ben, and I think they could translate that very well into an animated film. From then on, they can just make Miles Morales the character he is in the comics, and yeah, there's not really much I can say about this right now, to be honest, but
yeah.
What's interesting is I was reading Batman Rebirth, and there's actually, well, it's not Robin, but there's basically a black sidekick for Batman that was preluded in this one. First I thought it was Lucius Fox's son, but it does not appear that that's the case. No. Well, I know his son is Batwing. That's what I was thinking, and then you see, well, I don't want to get into spoilers, but yeah, there's a black kid who may or may not be basically Lucius Fox's son. That's going to be a sidekick in this book, but he was like, am I going to be Robin? And he's like, no, you're not going to be Robin, and it's not the Batwing suit, it's like yellow, and if it is, it's the most whack Batwing suit I've ever seen. So that's going to be interesting to see how that shapes out. He even said, no, you're not Robin in the book, so that I think is going to be one of the biggest surprises for that in Rebirth. Yeah, for Batman Rebirth. But,
okay, so now we're going on to Injustice 2, right?
Yeah, Injustice 2, which has been leaked, will be coming out in May this month, in a year from now. Okay. Of course.
Do you want me to get into it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm a huge Injustice fan. I'm a huge NetherRealm fan because I've been following these guys ever since Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat 9 came out in 2011. So these guys, they do not keep their mouths shut about their new games because their creative director, Ed Boon, always likes to tease new games. Like, if you go over to his Twitter right now, then you will see him being like, ooh, Injustice 2 leak. I wonder why that's coming out now. He's always very, always likes to leak himself.
Right, so are you saying that him saying things like that is reaffirming the possibility of Injustice 2, or in fact denoting or reducing the possibility of that being real? Because the leaks seem pretty not convincing per se, but it's from a reputable source.
Mortal Kombat 10 was leaked by the same source about a month before it was even the teaser trailer came out for it back in 2014. So I do feel that the source is very reputable, but the thing is that the thing with Ed Boon is sometimes he likes to just play with our feelings, basically. He likes to joke about things being real when sometimes they aren't. Because, like, a while ago for Mortal Kombat X, I know this is kind of off topic, but this kind of leads into Injustice 2. He was joking about a character named Rain, who's really big in Mortal Kombat, coming in the next pack, the next character pack, which he wasn't in there, so he was just joking around. So, in a way, it could be reaffirming, but in a way, it could be also denouncing the leak. It could be either one.
To me, it would make the most sense because Injustice Gods Among Us moved so many copies, and because it's so popular, and also coincides with the release of Justice League, in which these characters are getting mainstream audience. In 2013, there was no mainstream presence for Aquaman. No, but that's just Superman. You're dealing with a guy. Injustice Gods Among Us is a real deal DC game. You've got multiverse and you've got all these kind of things going on within the story, and that's a whole different game than just a Superman game or just Arkham.
They've had a long-running comic too that's been running on 3 years now, right?
Yes. That's like always on the comic book shelf, like DC Rebirth or not DC. Injustice Gods Among Us Year 5, Chapter 7, Section 2, subsection 27, Chapter 4. Like, it's just I don't know. I get lost. I don't know who still reads that because there's just so much. And it's like, seriously, it's like Year 5, Issue 14. It's like, who follows all this? Like, nobody's going to read it unless it's just like, this cover looks cool. I'm just going to see what happens in here. But if you, in terms of like following the story, I mean, you're good. I mean, maybe like 5 or 6 issues, but you're not going to follow it longer than that. It's just so messy. But
Injustice. Sorry.
I was just going to say, but the story's great for like the game and also for the comics. It's just hard to follow.
Injustice 2 coming out in 2017 coincides with the release schedule, because if you look at NetherRealm, they first got stated in 2009. That's when they were founded as a company. The first game came out 2 years later with Mortal Kombat 9. 2 years later, we got Injustice. That's 2013. And then another 2 years later, we got Mortal Kombat X. So what's 2 years later after Mortal Kombat X? 2017.
Right.
Which could really mean Injustice 2 is coming out, which is a very high possibility.
I just thought of this as well. Is it hardly a coincidence that Batman v Superman, the Justice League, in terms of story, is rumoured or speculated to be very similar to Injustice? So, them two coming out around the same time could be very coincidental. Yeah.
I heard about that.
I heard about Superman becoming corrupt and him losing Lois Lane and stuff about that, and that's why Superman is how he is in the dream sequences for Batman v Superman.
That would make a lot of sense, actually. Well, if you see the Flash, a while back when the Ezra Miller Flash concept art came out, you can tell that outfit was heavily inspired by Injustice, the armored Flash look. You guys know what I mean?
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So they do take part in each other, because I'm pretty sure Injustice 2 is going to take some things away from Batman v Superman, and maybe, just maybe, Justice League will take some things from Injustice 1. That's just kind of how
I wonder if he's going to be in like all black in Justice League Part 1, like once he comes out, and I guess he'll try, if they do the comic route. But here's the thing about Zack Snyder, and I think we talked about this last episode, but like, if not then just in Skype, but like Zack Snyder, he brands himself as like the comic book guy, but his movies are in fact the least accurate like comic accurate, you know?
Yeah,
they're not comic accurate in any way. You can go all the way down the line, and I love Batman v Superman, but Doomsday origin changed. Lex Luthor completely different. Batman does not act the way he does in the comics, and those of you that think he does probably don't read a lot of Batman comics. Sorry to tell you. You know, and people I guess are always like, well, Keaton Batman kills. It's like, yeah, I'm compared to the comics, not the movies. If you just watch the movies, then yes, he's pretty in line. But the point is, like, all the way down the line, it's, you know, Batman v Superman is not particularly comic accurate. And
the only comic accurate film he's made is 300, which is actually panel for panel accurate. If you guys didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's scene for scene accurate to the book.
So I've never seen.
Actually, doesn't help it.
I've never seen Watchmen, and that's quite different from the graphic novel you said.
Some parts of it, yeah. Some parts of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never read Watchmen, and I've honestly never watched the movie either, but I hope to get into it at some point. It's just kind of, I don't know. I've just never got into it. But I'm interested to see what Injustice 2 has to offer in terms of new characters, because that was one, you know, I wasn't following the game in depth. In fact, as many of you know, I just got I think as both of you know in here, I just got the game, like, I don't know, a few months ago, in fact.
Right. A couple months after you got your PS4, if I'm not mistaken, like January, February.
Yeah, so pretty recently, and it's very fun. I'm terrible at it, but it's very fun.
Very fun, yeah.
And so I wonder what if they're going to kind of, you know, continue on with Injustice or try to mix it up with the MKX style, which I know nothing about, but I heard it's different and, like, I don't know.
You can interact with the environment. You can interact with the environment, kind of like Injustice, but more meaningful, like more stage interactions, things like that.
But but can't you do that with Injustice? Like break the tank glass and, like, you know, the water pours out and that kind of thing.
I said
there's more to it in Mortal Kombat X. It's more advanced.
Like you can chain it more in the combos and stuff than just letting it go. The thing with, like, you said, you wanted more characters in the game, right?
I don't. That's what some people have said, but I mean, I think there's a good character list.
There's a great character list, and the thing is, with a fighting game developer, if you want too many characters, then that's going to take longer development time, and some of those characters are going to feel the same because they kind of just copy and paste in a lot of characters. So you kind of want a smaller list. 24 to 32 is the most that you want to have, because that's when all the characters feel different in a way, and that's when they all feel unique. Yeah. And there's a game in the Mortal Kombat series called Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which has 64 characters, and everyone in that game feels the same, and that's what really made that game fail. So hopefully they don't make the same mistake again with Injustice 2.
That's a good point. I never thought about it that way, but I'm sure that if they were to have, like, only 22 characters, let's say, I know you said 24 to 32, but let's say that they're in that range, then it would just be like, oh, they're shortchanging us, oh, they're going to just put all the characters in DLC, which they're going to do. I mean, that's how it works. But, you know, how many characters were in the DLC for Injustice 1? Like 6? I know you had, like, Batgirl and Martian Manhunter, I think, was DLC. And
Batgirl, Martian Manhunter, Lobo.
4 in the Season Pass, and then 2 that are outside of the Season Pass.
Okay, so 6. That's
plus.
How much
plus
was the Season Pass?
$30.
Oh, shit.
No, you can buy each character for $5, but you also get a bunch of skins for the Season Pass.
Okay, well, that's fair, because you get a ton of skins, too. You get a lot of skins. Yeah. That's fair, I guess. I mean, that's better than the Arkham Knight DLC.
Yeah, fairly good skins as well, to be honest.
Yeah, that's not bad. You know, that it is what it is, I guess. But, you know, I'm interested to see what I'm interested if there's anything at E3. I would estimate there probably isn't. They're probably going to save that for later because of the fact... What else are they going to do? They're like, oh, we're making Injustice 2. Okay, you're not going to see a trailer for a long time. I don't know. They might. I wouldn't be... Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. The leak said that there was going to be at E3. My mistake.
There was going to be something at E3,
that's what the leak said. And in fact, the leak said, if you remember, it said we were going to get the announcement before E3, and it was going to be at E3, according to the leak. So if the leak is accurate, if the game exists, then that'll be the case, because I'm sure they're not going to be accurate about one and inaccurate about the other, so...
Well, this would fall in line with what NetherRealm does, because they announced Mortal Kombat X in May of in 2014, actually, and then they just had the gameplay reveal in June, and then they released it next March. So they might actually just do that again, because I remember that they did that for Injustice as well.
So
Yeah.
by that schedule, we should be getting an announcement basically this month, roughly.
Or within the next week or two.
Yeah, next week or two.
Because on June 14th is E3, so no later than then. And according to the leak, we're actually going to get the announcement before E3. So that means in the upcoming days, literally in a few days, that's when.
Yeah.
I am willing to bet that the game is going to get revealed before June 10th.
That is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
And then release a trailer and then showcase some gameplay at E3. I think that's what they're going to do. Because that's what they usually do, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Right then.
Very good. So let's go ahead and talk about X-Men Apocalypse. This is going to be a good topic. Okay, so we've all seen the movie. We've all seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I saw it on Sunday because I was sick on Thursday when I had my ticket, so I traded them in, and I went to go see it on Sunday. Saw it with my friend, and he and I both loved it. He said that, he and I both said it was our second favorite movie of this year besides Batman v Superman. But we really, really enjoyed it, and, I was hooked in from the beginning. I thought the opening scene was one of the best of any X-Men movies. Apocalypse was great, although I kind of see what people are saying now about his height. They could have made him taller, but I think they wanted it to be more realistic than CGI, and I'm glad that they went that route. Overall, he was very menacing, and my favorite scene of the movie, honestly, not to ramble on too long, I'll give you guys a chance. My favorite scene in the movie is when they go to, spoilers, of course, for the movie, if you haven't seen it, is when they go to Auschwitz, and Magneto just levels it. And then
that is a great scene, yeah.
And what's so good about that scene is that it almost gives you, it gives you a means by which to see Magneto's point of view particularly, but even to a lesser degree, Apocalypse and where they're both coming from. Is like, yeah, that's good that fuck Auschwitz, like everybody kind of has that moment where like, yeah, they just did something good, and now we can kind of see what they're saying is that humanity is kind of corrupt and evil. Do they probably go a means too far to wipe out the entire human race? I think that's where we can kind of recognize, but that somebody pointed out. Like, I was watching a video from HavoK, I believe is how you say his name. Sorry if I said that wrong, if you're watching this. But, yeah, he pointed out, I was like, yeah, I actually agreed with Apocalypse at one point in the movie. I was like, yeah, you agree that, that was a good thing that they did to kind of do that with Magneto, especially with his childhood, of course, with his parents dying. So I thought that was a beautiful scene. Yes. Okay, who wants to go next?
But
I'll go next. Go on. You go on. Hey, mate, you go first. Go on. It's fine.
Okay, so I think I have the most negative opinion out of all of us. I absolutely dislike this movie. It's the second worst comic book movie this year. I'm guessing guess the first one, but with this movie, every character in the movie.
I'm just kidding. Go
kill yourself. But anyway, so this movie, so many characters were done wrong, and certain characters were played up to a point where they shouldn't be played up. Like, example, Mystique. She's Jennifer Lawrence. She's been in since First Class, but they always insist on making her the main character for some ungodly reason.
Because she's a great actress. She's a
great
superstar.
Actress, but she plays the same character in every movie. And that's her problem.
Okay, the dynamic character in the movie is Magneto. His arc is perfectly woven throughout all three films.
He's the best part of the movie, without a doubt.
Yes, he is. And the static characters...
He's the best horseman.
The static characters.
Yeah, he's the only established character with real layer and depth behind him.
Okay,
to be honest,
Mystique is the established character. She's static. She has the same basic personality, although she kind of goes to the dark side a little bit at the end of First Class when she chooses Magneto over her brother, not brother in quotation marks, of course, which I thought was a lame move. But then she ultimately comes back and she aligns with Charles, and then Charles, he has that little thing in Days of Future Past where he's like, like a drunk or whatever, or not a drunk, he's an addict, and he goes through that little weird emo phase. So, but large in part, he's also static. And then you have the most dynamic of all of them, who is Magneto, who I thought has a great arc, and especially that scene in the forest encapsulates that perfectly. So there's varying degrees, and she's meant to be static because she's the superstar. You don't want to screw her up. A lot of people go to the theater just to see her little, 12-year-old fangirls like, oh, we're going to see Katniss Everdeen in a movie again. So that's an important part, and also she's hot, so shit, she can do whatever she wants. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's why she's in it, and that's why they don't make her blue as much as she probably should. But yeah. Okay.
So the other Horseman. Let me talk about the other Horseman. Magneto was wonderfully done. Michael Fassbender killed the role as always. Michael Fassbender, he wasn't the problem in this movie. He actually helped the movie out more than he did anything
He's a redeeming
else.
factor in this movie, without a doubt.
But the other Horsemen, like Angel and Storm and Psylocke, they were all horrifically done. They were just butchered.
They're throwaway characters.
Oblivion.
They're sidekicks.
But they shouldn't be. They're mainline X-Men and anything else.
But you don't have enough time because they spent so much time because of the fact in Days of Future Past, everybody and First Class combined, that basically Mystique and the Beast are the only two left. You have to, at some level, build on those new characters. So you've got to bring in everybody. Nightcrawler, and he didn't need as much development, but even then, Jean Grey, of course, like those characters needed big time development to make sense.
She was butchered in that movie too. Jean Grey was done badly in that movie.
I feel Jean Grey, she was very lackluster, but Sophie Turner was good as Jean Grey.
She was good. She was good. I'm
not great, nothing amazing, but she's good.
Jubilee was messed up again.
Yeah,
underutilized. They always make the characters that no one cares about, the mainline characters, and they always underplay the characters that the fans really want to see, which is their crux. That is the worst thing that Bryan Singer has done in this franchise, is he likes to focus on the least favorite characters of the X-Men fans. Except Wolverine, and his part in this movie is probably under 2 minutes long.
Yeah, it's only added for fan service.
I know, it's a cameo. It's a good cameo. He looks a little stupid, to be honest, with the 90s computers strapped to his waist. And
oh, no, but that's Weapon X, isn't it? Yeah. That's basically that's his origin. They're redoing his origin again.
Yes, again, for the third time. But besides that, he was done well. Let me try to think of something else. Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse. He was well acted, but he wasn't Apocalypse. He wasn't scary. He only grows once in the movie, which is one of his biggest powers in any other media. And the one part in the trailer where he makes his main speech, the one where he's like, the speech in the movie when he's that. I forget what scene it is. It's the one where he's like screaming about humankind and how they're bad, right?
Auschwitz, isn't it?
Yes.
Everything they built will fall.
Yes. That is Auschwitz. Lifted straight from an X-Men cartoon, so they didn't even get their own little speech in. They had to rip it from another thing, which is okay, but the only thing that character serves to do is to just be a bad guy. He doesn't feel like he has any stakes. He doesn't feel like he does anything, which is his main problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Intimidating and well done, and I thought that the threat was there, and the biggest threat of all is that ultimately he can control everybody's mind and connect everybody's mind, including Charles Xavier's, which would be, of course, disastrous for all of mankind. So I thought that was an interesting plot development, and the stakes were really high for the film, and I felt the intensity of that, and I thought that was very well done.
I didn't feel any intensity. The only mainline X-Men that I found like really entertaining and was an actually really good character, well done, is Quicksilver.
Yes.
Great in that movie, and when he's hurt, like there's a scene where he gets his leg snapped. We can say spoilers, right? Like slight spoilers, nothing too major.
The whole time.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, it's too late. He gets his leg snapped, and you actually kind of feel bad because he really gets his leg snapped. And the scenes where he's running through the X Mansion, saving all the people from an explosion, those were well done. By far the best scenes in the movie, next to the Auschwitz scene and things like that. But there were no great action set pieces. There wasn't any great story development. This movie just felt like it was... The movie felt like it was there just to end the trilogy to start a new one, which is what they shouldn't have focused on. They should have focused on...
I get where you're coming from there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like, there's a little joke in the movie, which I thought this was absolutely hilarious, where they come out of the Episode 6 of Star Wars. I forget the subtitle right now.
Oh, yeah.
The end of the trilogy is always the worst. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right. You're really right there. Like, they predicted...
At least we know 5's the best one or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
At least we know the second one's the best one.
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back. There's like... And then the one guy is just like, A New Hope's where it all started. but they always bash on the third movie. So they also joked about themselves, which I find hilarious. But this movie just felt very lackluster in many areas.
Yeah.
Say was the biggest disappointment for the movie was the third act. I thought the action and the big fight was kind of lackluster, and I could just feel that it was recorded on some set in the back of Fox's studio, and there was people like painting the rubble and just like throwing it around randomly. Like I could feel it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy and just the entire
it feels like
fighting.
It feels
at
like
the end.
Batman v Superman's third. It feels a lot like Batman v Superman's final act.
No, get the hell out of here.
Yes, a lot like it.
How
except
so?
Less CGI. Well, it's just pointless action. It's action for the sake of being action. There's no stakes. There's nothing interesting coming
that is
out
true.
of it. Yes.
All right then.
Just nothing feels like there's nothing that they could lose, and we know that the bad guys are going to lose. That's always what we know. So that's kind of why I feel that this movie was disappointing. For a movie titled Apocalypse, nothing happens that's world-ending.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be the case, but I was wrong.
All right then. So my thoughts on X-Men Apocalypse. I would say it's not the worst movie, but it was just very, very disappointing, to be honest. And I don't know whether that's because I expected a lot from the movie. I don't think I did. I went in it with neutral thoughts, and I knew it could either be good or bad. Wasn't convinced it was going to be good. But for me personally, you said one of the standout scenes was Auschwitz, which it's very, very good scene. But for me, I think the most impactful scene was the scene with Magneto and his family in the forest. Mm-hmm. It just held a lot of emotion behind it, and it gave Magneto a reason to turn back to the dark side, in which he obviously is accustomed to. And it just gave the character of Magneto a lot of layer and depth. And I think that's one good thing that the X-Men films do, especially with Michael Fassbender's Magneto. Because with every movie, there's always something which triggers him to fluctuate and change between the good and the dark. And it always makes sense. So that's one thing I've always admired about Magneto, and just the way he's written and included into these scripts for the X-Men movies, specifically the First Class trilogy. Other good things about this movie, Quicksilver's scene is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if it's better than Days of Future Past. There's definitely a lot more content in it, but it's a standout scene in this movie. Again, fantastic scene. Quicksilver, Evan Peters nailed the role as well. Sophie Turner is good as Jean Grey. Don't think she's brilliant, but there's more X-Men movies to come out soon, and I'm looking forward to what she brings to Jean Grey, especially with that Phoenix stuff being teased again. Ty Sheridan was good as Cyclops. I like Cyclops in this movie. Nightcrawler was all right. I wasn't really on board with the whole awkward, timid sort of representation he was given. But for what Nightcrawler was, it worked for me, and it was mediocre at best. I
honestly thought Nightcrawler was one of the best, my personal opinion. Like, I thought he was really good. But
maybe it was
I can understand.
Maybe it was me expecting the Nightcrawler from X-Men 2, but I don't know. One thing I didn't like about this movie was Apocalypse, and I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, he just felt like another cliche villain, to be honest. Oscar Isaac does well in the acting element of Apocalypse, but at the end of the day, to me, he just looks like another Power Rangers villain who just wants to destroy the world. There's no stakes he's holding, it's just all a grand scheme, which is cliche in superhero movies. Lex Luthor done the same thing, but with Lex Luthor you could sort of understand where he was coming from, sort of. But with Apocalypse, it's just very, very cliche. There's no substance to him, no character development, no layers whatsoever. He's powdered in makeup, and not to mention that I absolutely hate his costume design in this movie. He looks absolutely
like a bad guy from the Power Rangers.
He looks absolutely terrible.
One thing I will say is I'm like 98% sure that he was wearing Skechers shape-ups. Like, I'm not joking. I'm pretty sure. There's a close-up where he's standing over a guy that's, like, bending over, and he's like, "You will face my will," or whatever. And, like, I swear to God, he has Skechers shape-ups with, like, paint over the S, over the Skechers logo. Once you watch it again, like, look for that. Look for that. Trust me.
And
you'll be like, Slcmof was right. He is wearing shape-ups. Okay. Anyway.
All right.
When you look at Apocalypse in this movie, you literally just see Oscar Isaac with makeup on. You don't see You don't see Apocalypse. You just see Oscar Isaac.
I don't see a menacing person who could potentially destroy the world in a click of his fingers.
I just see the guy who danced in Ex Machina. That's all I see when I see Apocalypse.
All right, so let's talk about the Horseman. The Horseman, the only one with real substance again, is Magneto. I feel like he's one of the best parts about this movie. Michael Fassbender absolutely nailed it. I'm really hoping Assassin's Creed turns out well for him because he really is talented.
And the thing is, he only had his acting debut like 7 years ago. Exactly. He was in 300, which is one of his first
So this shows how much of a great actor he is. He's evolved so quickly. The Horsemen, right, Storm, I did not like whatsoever.
No.
Slcmof, underutilized as hell. Oh my god. The way she gets on board with the whole grand scheme is just so stupid as well.
And the way that she walks away at the end when she gets offered the X-Men job.
Yeah.
They're all kind of shoehorned in. I mean, like, I didn't have a problem with it. I was like, let's get to the big fight, baby. Let's go. I didn't care about any of that. Because it was like I thought that Slcmof was supposed to be protecting the gay guy at the counter, you know. But then she was like, because that's what I think that was her job at first, and then she's like, yeah, I'm with you. And it's like, what just happened? But Storm was different because Storm was like brainwashed. Remember, like he touched her. And
I can get on board. I can get on board with Storm. There's just nothing behind her, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
But I understand your complaints there. I just didn't really like. I always thought it was just Apocalypse versus the. I was about to say the Avengers first.
Yeah, but these Horsemen are characters in their own right as well. They deserve to have some substance and be explored. Angel, oh my god! Right,
Angel's an alcoholic. Yeah. That's his thing. That's why I think he was more inclined to join him because he's drunk like most of the movie if you think about it. Because even when he gets inducted into the Horsemen, he has a bottle of vodka in his hands, and the Four Horsemen by Metallica is playing. By the way, that's a shoehorned in reference. Don't ever do that again, Bryan Singer, please. But that scene made no sense. And the thing about Angel is he is the stupidest angel we've seen on film. The Angel in the old movies, there's a scene, I think it's in X2, where he's a little kid and he's trying to hide the mutant thing, so he's cutting out his wings, which was the only good scene in that movie.
Yeah, it was the start of X3.
Yeah, and I felt really bad for the kid. Now he's just a drunk asshole who no one feels bad for because he's literally just a drunk asshole in the movie. And the way he dies is... Oh, sorry.
It's so stupid. For someone who can fly, just like a plane, he dies in a plane crash. Fantastic screenplay.
So he died. Another thing that I found a little bit weird was how they were just like, Storm was like, "Yeah, I'm an X-Men now." It's like, what the fuck? Hold up. No, you're not. You just tried to kill all of us. Why are you an X-Men now? She's like, just because you helped. You threw a lightning bolt or two at Apocalypse doesn't mean that you're a good guy now. What the hell is going on?
She's meant to be brainwashed. I don't know where she even gets the idea of joining the X-Men from anyway.
Right. So, I found that was weird, and I found that the fight was a little bit on the disappointing side, but overall I thought it was great, well-paced, and the build-up, it was a little lengthy, but overall I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was a great movie, the second best of the year in terms of comic book movies, even better than Deadpool, which I found to be a very good movie, a very good movie, but it's irreverent in its own right. This one felt integral to the and weighty, I guess.
Let's all give our score. I would give the movie a 4 out of 10.
I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
By the way, both of these guys gave BVS a 3 and a 4 respectively. So just keep that in mind when you're considering their score.
Great reason.
Okay,
go ahead.
No. Rank Apocalypse. Go.
Go. We will square up right now, Slikk.
Go Apocalypse. Apocalypse. Go.
All right. My score for Apocalypse, a 5.
Okay, and I give it a 9.
Very
all right.
Yeah.
Very good. Let's move on to Jesse Eisenberg being in the Justice League movie. Not in the Justice League. In the movie. So Jesse Eisenberg, of course, was the best antagonist of the year in terms of comic book movies. He was incredibly layered and complex. And philosophical. Well, the reason I'm laughing is because you guys. This is true. He was philosophically grounded and had interesting making me laugh. I'm serious. Okay, so anyway, yeah, he was philosophically and intriguing. He transcended the typical bad guys of Baron Zemo, who's like, oh, I'm just mad because you hurt my mom and dad, or my son, whatever. Oh,
I'm just mad at you because my daddy hurt me and you didn't come and help me.
No, that's not why. That's not why, though. But okay. Of course, he doesn't like Superman because he fears Superman being all powerful, and basically he's power hungry in his own right. And also, more so, I think he's trying to protect humanity. He views Superman as an imminent threat.
So if he's trying to protect humanity, then why did he create a big monster that can wipe out humanity?
I'll tell you, it's because Batman stole kryptonite from him earlier. He knows that Batman has kryptonite, and he knows
it's a Doomsday shoe one.
No, it's because he knows that he knows that he's not going to wipe out the entire human race, but he knows that Doomsday might kill a few humans, and if so, that is a needed casualty to save the entire human race, because he feels that it is imminent. It is impossible to avoid the fact that Superman will go rogue and kill everybody. And by the way, according to the Justice League leaks that have come out, it seems as though that may actually be the plot where Superman goes rogue. The very fear that Lex Luthor had are going to become realized. So he has some very valid and germane arguments. So
germane?
Yeah. Germane means noteworthy.
Okay. I didn't know that. But the thing with Jesse Eisenberg being in this movie is, they do shave his head at the end, so maybe he's going to be a little bit more like the comics version, but he's just too batshit crazy to be anywhere near as scary as anyone that should be Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor's always been this intimidating, grounded businessman who you don't fear if you're a regular person, but if he has some dirt on you, you're gonna shit your pants because he's gonna come after you with everything he's got. Which
I feel killed Superman.
Doomsday killed Superman.
Yeah, but he did it. He made. Okay, does the gun kill the person? No. Lex Luthor killed Superman. I mean, think about that. Has Lex Luthor ever killed Superman? No, unless you're talking about in the DC Universe Online short clip thing where actually he did.
Yeah. Baron Zemo destroyed the Avengers without throwing a single punch. He split up the Avengers.
They were split up before the movie started because of the act. What? They were already split up. The movie ended where it began. Nothing happened besides Rhodes getting crippled, which we, by the way, saw in the trailer. You didn't even need to watch the movie to be caught up on the MCU. The movie starts, the Avengers are divided, the movie ends, the Avengers are divided. You have a couple playground sitcom scenes, like the airport fight, which is totally pointless. And then they play on the playground for a little bit. The movie ends where it began, except Rhodes is crippled, which we saw in the trailer. So nothing happens in the movie that you didn't already see in the trailer. Just like Batman v Superman. I'm not saying that's not the case for Batman. We saw everything in the trailer there as well, except for the Capitol exploding. I was really surprised when that happened. But it's the same shit. I mean, it's the same thing.
The best part of the movie.
So...
No, the best part of the movie is watching that old lady drink Jesse Eisenberg's piss. That
Senator
made
Finch,
the movie better.
Oh, my biggest problem with BVS is that she's a Democrat from Kentucky. Like, I'm pretty sure there hasn't been a Democrat from Kentucky since the ages of slavery, but that's okay. So...
Back when Democrat was the opposite of Democrat.
Right. So... Let's see. Shit, what is the topic again? Why are we talking about Batman?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay, Jesse Eisenberg. What role do we think he's going to play in the movie? I'll let you guys
Very little. He's going to play a Hannibal Lecter type role in the movie. Mm-hmm. Meaning the main bad guy might... Yeah, he's going to be the same crackhead Jesse Eisenberg character that we know and love.
It sounds to me like he's just waiting the call to go, and he's going to do like one or two scenes, and then he's done. Like, that's the way I interpret it.
He's going to be in his jail cell, and someone's going to visit him and talk to him.
They're gonna interview him about Darkseid. They're gonna what do you know about this Darkseid? What did you do? Because he rung the bell, so to speak. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he said.
Yeah,
but he's crazy.
I mean, Steppenwolf is in the deleted scenes, like right where Doomsday was unleashed.
Right.
And Steppenwolf is meant to be the main antagonist.
Yeah, right, man, who's also going to be the main
Justice League Part 2 is where they're going to bring in Darkseid. That's my speculation. Yeah. Right, Jesse Eisenberg, I don't really see any reason for him to change in terms of story, because if he was in a prison, he'd be going even more crazier because he's so isolated from everyone else in the prison and isolated from humanity. So it would only be if he was in that if anyone was in that situation, the only real thing that anyone would do is just go batshit crazy, and Lex Luthor's already batshit crazy.
No, you can already tell he's crazy in prison because the scene where he's like had his face up against the bars, and
he's like,
you can see snot bubbles coming out of his nose, and he's like slobbering everywhere.
It sounds like he has rabies, not like he's crazy. Okay, now one thing that I will say that I think they'll do is I think that they will, in that he's bald, I think that that's kind of his transformation on a figurative level to the comic book. Of course, I understand that he acts not comic book Lex Luthor in the Cell. However, I do think that in this movie we're going to see him more come into that role. I think he's going to be much more serious. Like when they're interviewing him, he's going to be kind of more like, you know, what the hell do you want? You know, like that kind of, you know, mentality. So I think they're going to bring it more. And even if that's not in the script, I think that they're going to change that because of the outlash to
You want him to be more Kingpin than Lex Luthor.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I mean, like, as you mentioned, you made a good point that in the comic books, Lex Luthor is much more, he's serious, he tells it like it is, and he's kind of a straight shooter. Here he's a little bit more eccentric, but what I'm saying is I think that he's going to transform more into that, and if not just because they were planning on doing that all along, and just directly because of audience reactions and saying like, okay, this guy's a little over the top. I thought he was great, that's my personal opinion, though I understand that I'm in the minority, and a lot of people were just like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So I think that, I think that's what they're going to move towards in the movie. So,
yes,
I feel with this Lex Luthor, they need to interject the fact that he's potentially one of the most intelligent people on the planet. He's intelligently superior to Superman. Yeah. So they need to interject that, which we didn't get in Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman, I just felt he wasn't smart.
I
didn't feel he was smart at all.
The Batman was smart or Superman?
He wasn't.
No, we're talking about Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Batman was smarter than Superman.
Well, I'll say why I thought that he was smart. Because, well, maybe not that he didn't show supreme intellect, although he when he was talking in the room with the senator, you know, he was talking about all kinds of smartsy things that's kind of typical of Lex Luthor.
He is well spoken, but like he doesn't do anything that he's a smart person written by a dumb person.
Well, his master plan is quite intelligent. He forks Superman and he ultimately defeats him and basically puppets him to do what he wants. And the same with Batman as well, who I did not feel was portrayed as particularly intelligent either. He was not portrayed as unintelligent, but
he was portrayed as a brute who had slight brain things. Like he was portrayed as a person who is smart underneath, but he does all these things on impulse.
Like he's in a fit of rage. You're right.
Yes.
But they showed that he was intelligent. But I hope, you know, Batman is measured, and this is one thing that people, I guess, that if you only watch the movies, he's a very measured guy. He's more relaxed. He doesn't scream at Alfred. He didn't scream at him in the movie, but he doesn't go on these ranty rampages. He's very calm. He's measured in his attitude.
He would never go on a bitch fit at Superman about him saying his mom's name.
And he's not impulsive in the way in which he was like. Like, I guess Superman, he took them to the tower, he's like, alright, Alfred, we're gonna get this fucking rock and just put the shit in there, kill his ass. He's, like, ready to go, and he's like, I'm turning on... I don't know, I guess that's... and then, so he's just, like, turning on the bat signal, it's like, I don't know, Batman, is this really the best... is this the best way to approach this? Like, have you done all of your research on Superman and how to counter him? It's like, yeah, you have kryptonite, but, like, you know, the Batman I know would extensively research ways to defeat Superman.
Yeah,
and
he's like,
you know,
he's like, okay, so there's this man who's hurt by nothing. So there's this green rock. So let me make a primitive weapon out of this green rock and stab him with it, with the spear. He could have made a gun with kryptonite ammo in it, which would have
actually. He did. He had a grenade launcher.
He had a grenade launcher though that had kryptonite gas, but he could have had a gun that shot shards of kryptonite, which would have actually been smart. Why didn't he do that?
It would have killed him straight away.
Yeah, he would have gotten rid of that.
Honestly, the gas should have killed Superman.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's just me, but the gas should have killed him straight away.
Superman can survive.
He's breathing in. He's like,
Superman can survive getting stabbed with kryptonite.
So Superman doesn't need to breathe because he can go into space and stuff.
Right.
Why does he choose to breathe in at the moment where he knows there's something making him weaker all around him? Just hold your breath.
I just don't get it. I don't understand this movie one bit.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but as per him being in Justice League Part 1, is this good news or bad news for you guys? Like, I'm assuming you're thinking bad news.
I don't really...
Bad news. Bad news, but if they can do something, which I hope they will, based on the fan reception, then I have hope for it.
I think it's good news, and even though I liked him in Batman v Superman, I think it's good news for another reason, because this is going to be a continuation of BVS. So if you think about it, based upon, especially with the communion scene, it's hard to imagine how he would not fit into this movie. It's really hard.
Well, there's one thing I kind of want to bring up. So does Suicide Squad take place before or after BVS?
After.
Has that been confirmed?
After.
So Superman, how long does Justice League take place after BVS? I'm guessing a couple months. So or is it like the real life time? Like, you know how Marvel movies, the Avengers happened 4 years ago. The movie happened 4 years ago. So in the trailer for Suicide Squad, they talk shit about Superman. So I wonder if that actually might be a thing, is that Superman might be a bad guy in Justice League. Because, in the Suicide Squad trailer, they do say, like, what if Superman just flew in and took the president? But at that point, the public thinks he's dead. Because, he is dead. He died a hero. So why would they say that a hero would take the president, kill the president? And also, they think he's dead, so why would they even put a what if on a character that's dead? So I don't know how this canon's going to work. So that's just my little tangent. I just don't really see how that's going to tie in. Is Superman already... Does Superman get, like, revived right after he dies? Meaning that people know he's gone, they just don't know where he is? That could be a possibility, actually. Like, maybe right after BVS, he gets revived and he goes to the Fortress of Solitude or something like that. He just goes to the North Pole or South Pole where he isn't surrounded by humans. Something like that.
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah. But
maybe.
That's in Superman Rebirth 1 as well. Okay, so anything else to say about Eisenberg and Lex Luthor? We have a bonus segment, of course, as always, and we're going to be talking about DC Rebirth. So, I've read Rebirth. You've read it, HMA?
Yes.
Okay. Barry, you have not.
Yes, I have. I haven't read it, but I've seen most of it on the internet and stuff.
So you know what happens.
I haven't. Yeah.
Okay, I just did my review. I actually just uploaded it on the break here between Arrow, and then I read Superman, and then I read Batman, and I didn't read Green Lantern because I don't care about Jessica Cruz or whoever the hell, whatever his name is in there. I just don't care about them, so I didn't buy it. However, I heard it was good. Anyway, so we might talk about that a little bit. Mainly, let's talk about the actual Rebirth, because all three of us have seen a lot about that. So what... I'll start off with my review and then I'll let you guys talk. So I went to go pick it up at midnight. I was really excited to get into it. I went home, I read it. It was a very quick read. I breezed through it actually faster than I was expecting, in that it was 80 pages, but they did not specify that the last 15 were all ads for the future DC books. That would have been nice to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was still cool. And as I said, it was a very quick read, and I was hooked in straight away. I didn't put it down for a second. It wasn't what I was expecting, not in a bad way. I enjoyed it, it just wasn't what I was expecting. I won't say it wasn't what I was hoping for, but it focused so heavily on one character that it felt odd to even call it a universe rebirth, or it's not a reboot, I know, but like it was literally just the Wally West show, and, spoiler shit, okay, probably should have said that, spoilers. It just felt like it was so focused on one character that it didn't necessarily have the holistic kind of angle on it that I was thinking that it would. Not in a bad way. I was just expecting it to be like, this happens and everything gets reset. It was more just like, Wally's back. Like, that's kind of the main thing to take away.
Wally's back, now let's tie in Watchmen. Right. That type of thing. Well, are you going to give your little review, or do you want me to get into it? I enjoyed
it. No. That's my review. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I enjoyed it. I don't have this emotional attachment to Wally West. I didn't flip out when I saw him. I was like, okay, Wally West is back. Barry Allen's better. I
like Barry Allen better too.
Yeah, so that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. And it was like, oh, there's gonna be a big reveal and a new character. And then when it was Wally West, I was like, okay, that's big. Yeah, I can see. I mean, I get it. It's just, to me, I didn't flip out. I thought it was gonna be like, who am I not thinking of? It's gonna be a big reveal. I mean, it's not gonna be. And I was thinking about it, and
maybe
then
you're
Wally
thinking
West,
like Booster Gold or
right,
someone like that.
And then they did
West.
some things that I found to be incredibly pointless, like make Aqualad gay, why, whatever. And they also did some things that I thought were very good, except for the fact that Batman is oblivious to this pin in him the whole book, I guess, and he randomly gets an urge to take out this button that is somehow attached to him. I didn't get that.
It's the yellow smiley face button?
Right, but how is it on? He like pulls it out of his neck or something if you look at it
closely.
Didn't
you find it in the Batcave?
It's Watchmen.
No, I know, but I'm saying it was like on his suit, or like he pulls it out from on his neck or something. If you look at it,
guessing Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, Dr. Manhattan does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not familiar with Watchmen, but and then again, like as somebody that doesn't read Watchmen, that doesn't know who it is, I was like, I knew what the button was, of course. I know what the Watchmen is. I'm not that inept, but
it's probably very daunting, and you don't know what's going on most of the time because you're not a fan of Watchmen. And neither are a lot of mainstream DC fans because Watchmen's very much a smaller, not small.
No, it's not very small. It's just nostalgic. I don't think many people who read Rebirth today have ever read Watchmen, just due to how old it is, really.
It was just that both of the big reveals that I can understand why DC fans would go like nuts over just weren't big to me. Like Wally West coming back, it wasn't that big of a deal for me. And then the Watchmen thing, I've never even read Watchmen. I don't know who Dr. Manhattan is to it, but other than the fact that he's the blue dude, right?
Like the new guy.
Yeah,
blue dude.
Naked.
Okay, so I know that, but like both of those were both of the big things in the book, and I didn't really, it wasn't anything massive to me, is what I'm saying. But I did enjoy it. It was a fun read and worth $3, I guess. I mean, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's like 50 pages of pure world building, so it's really good. But my little review on it is I was very enthralled in it. I really liked it. It actually sucked me back into DC because I haven't read DC comics in a long time. I feel like they're getting too crazy. The only comic I've read in the last 6 months, graphic novel type thing, volume, is American Alien by Max Landis, who, by the way, not going to mention him. But the thing with DC is they've tried making their things too complex, so they had to restart it all. So what they're going to do is they're going to tie in a really complex universe, that being Watchmen, into DC now, which they're going to probably explain how they tie it in. And the things that were going to be revealed, I'm fine with the Wally West reveal. He's not my favorite Flash by far, but I do like him. But the thing that kind of got me, and spoilers, the comic's been out for a week, so I don't even care anymore. But the thing is, there are 3 Jokers in this continuity now. Those Jokers being the Killing Joke Joker, the 40s Joker, Silver Age, and the modern Joker, the one that cut off his face and somehow regrew it. I don't know how that works.
52, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now there are 3 Jokers, but they promised a name reveal, and we didn't get it. We just got more complex shit that didn't need to happen.
And that Endgame Joker has died like 90 times. Like, he died in the Batgirl book, he died in Volume 3 of the Batgirl book, he died in Endgame, he died, like, he's literally died so much, and he's still kicking, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I know it's comics, but then again, like, you can say the same thing, like, it's comics that there's 3 Jokers. It's cool. Like, I mean, if they're gonna do it, I don't want to see them walk back on it. I want them to see.
Yeah.
I want them to double down. It just I want the Jokers to be like triple teaming Batman and punch them all at the same time and all that shit. Like that's what you got to do. Now that you do it, just go out on it.
They all have really distinctive looks, but the thing about them tying in the 40s Joker is he's been in hiding for 70 years, but yet he still looks the same.
And he hasn't aged. There's an issue.
Yeah, that's like them being like, there's 2 Uncle Bens. They've just been switching out who's died. That's why this one's coming back, and then this one looks different. This one's coming back.
Honestly,
it was a very
what they should have done. They should have, if they want to do this, they should have done Killing Joke and then New 52. That's it. They shouldn't have. The 40, like, this is the guy that, like, throws pies in your face. Like, what the hell? Like, why are you bringing back this guy? I mean, I don't know. It's
sadistic. 40s Joker was sadistic. He was very...
Really?
Yes, he was... Yeah, Silver Age. The Bronze and Silver Age Joker was pretty brutal. And Batman's fucked him up, though. Batman, like... Wasn't it the first issue where he killed Joker? I think it was the first issue of the Batman comic where he hung Joker by the Batwing and he dragged him across the city. But so he's back somehow. I don't know how that works, but
it's comics, isn't it? Everyone just comes back to life,
except Ben Parker, which ripped in.
For a while with Jason Todd as well.
Yeah, Jason Todd came back though, and he got worse as he came back. Oh shit! I'm gonna get killed by saying that, but. Oh, how is Jason Todd in these new books? Is he Red Hood in these new books?
What in the Rebirth?
Yeah, is he mentioned in the Batman?
No, he's not in it. There's no Robin. In fact, they explicitly state the black guy that I was talking about. That's the new sidekick. They explicitly state you're not Robin. So I guess they're not going to do Robin in Rebirth. And I don't know. It's weird. I thought that they were doing like, oh yeah, we're bringing it back to what everybody loves, and we're bringing it back to. Everybody's favorite interpretation of the character. It's like,
yes, that means no Damian Wayne.
No, but what I'm saying is like, if that were the case, then Dick Grayson would be Robin or some shit. But
everyone loves Dick Grayson more. He's the best Robin, but he's also a really good Nightwing.
Right, but
he's
they're not
confirmed to have a Nightwing book. He's confirmed to have a Nightwing book, right? Like a Rebirth Nightwing book.
Yeah.
I like the art on that book, but like what we've seen. But I just don't see how they're going to tie it in because, like, Damian Wayne, we haven't seen an adult version of him in mainstream continuity yet. Like, he's always just been Robin, and hopefully they don't fuck him over like they did in Injustice where they made Damian Wayne Nightwing, which you've played the campaign, right, Slikk?
For what?
Injustice.
Yeah.
So you know that Nightwing gets killed by Damian by falling and snapping his neck on a rock.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how they're going to explain adult Damian. Is he still with Talia? They're probably going to make it so he's still with Talia and he's going to come back sometime in the future. That's at least how I
actually
think
liked what they've done in the New 52 movies with that. Like, I know a lot of people shit on those, but I like all the DC animated movies, honestly. I think they're all great, including Son of Batman or Son of Robin, whatever the hell it's called.
I haven't watched any since Flashpoint Paradox came out.
I mean, Batman Bad Blood's good. Justice League vs. Teen Titans is great. A lot of them are good, really. That's my perspective.
Yeah, they're all great. Well, DC and Marvel are like flip-flop because Marvel has the shitty animated movies, but DC has the great animated movies, and DC has the shitty live-action movies, and Marvel has great live-action movies.
Subject to opinion,
it's my...
Excuse me? No, I'm just kidding. I understand.
You're excused.
I don't know about that one, buddy. I don't know about that one. The shitty live-action movies. I don't know about that.
Well, yeah.
We'll go with it. Okay, so, anything else to say about DC Rebirth?
I can't really say much because I haven't read it in full. But from what I've heard, the Wally West reveal with Barry Allen is done very well. Apparently, it's a very emotional part of the comic. That's what I heard, personally.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Watchmen coming back, I'm very excited for. I'm excited to see how that plays out because it is risky. It is risky.
Yeah, it's really risky because a lot of mainstream DC fans haven't read Watchmen, which
exactly, and those who have read Watchmen,
that'll give them an excuse to go back and buy the books, the Alan Moore one and the Darwin Cook one, which.
I don't like Darwin Cook's art. I know he just passed, but I mean, I'm just saying I don't like his art.
I don't like his art. I don't like his art particularly. It's too cartoony in a way. He was great at art. I just didn't like the style,
Right. Yeah.
But he also wrote Return to get off PlayStation, Slikk. Come on. But he also
we're almost done. I'm about to play Overwatch.
He also wrote that book. If you didn't know, he wrote Return to Watchmen. So he's a competent writer too. So
who?
I'm sad to see him, Darwin Cook. I'm sad to see him go, but I didn't enjoy his art. But hopefully that's canon. But
that's rude.
What?
No, nothing. I wasn't about to say what I was about to say. That would be very
sad
insensitive.
That we lost him, but I didn't like his art.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. What were we saying?
Basically, that'll give people an excuse to go back and read those excellent books, and that's good. I like how they tied that in. So that's all I really got to say.
Okay. Anything else? You good?
I am.
Okay.
Great, I'm done.
That is episode 2 of the Nameless Podcast. We may actually just keep the names. Do you guys mind that? I mean, I like the name. It's fine. Nameless Podcast. That's good. it's like its own thing, you know. Everybody, it's easy to remember because it's not anything like complicated, like my name or something, or random letters. So anyway, yes, that is episode 2 of the Nameless Podcast. If you enjoyed, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and as always, leave any questions, comments, concerns, anything else, and we will include it as a segment in next week. We didn't do a great job of doing that this week. We did read all the comments, but we really next week will incorporate your guys' ideas, and we'll mention if you give us a good topic, and if you have a good question, we'll put that in the bonus segment, something along those lines. All right, guys, hope you all have enjoyed. Peace out.
Bye-bye.